Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday Night Show and Share. This is our weekly gathering where we show off projects we're working on, something that we need help with, something that we've utterly screwed up and want to brag about it. We have a sign-up list at the door, and the first one on our list tonight is Evan with handlebars.
Hello everyone, I'm Evan. I've been working on my bike stuff again, and I got some handlebar tubing, and I was trying to make some handlebars to match the bike I'm working on. And so I've been using the Haas felt bender in there. You can set it up for 7/8, which is like a standard handlebar clamp diameter. And so I got this 7/8 tube. Oh, that's a good one. Let me show you the bad ones first. So this is the first attempt. I don't know if you can tell, but you know, they're not quite in the same phase. Someone aptly, yeah. So I marked out my bend points. I'd never used the bender before, so I kind of just marked out midpoint, and then kind of some estimates of where the 4 bends should go. Fed it in there. The first 3, great, because the first 2 are really easy. The third one is whatever it is, and then trying to match the last one to the third one was where it got weird. And I guess I just rotated it, so I'd put it in there and I twisted it up to get this kind of upsweep. And I guess I just twisted it the wrong way for that. So I'll probably cut that one up and make some slingshot or some other kind of handlebars with it. And then, so the second one, I was feeling very confident. As you can see, one side, very good. And then, so this one I was trying to measure. So I got this little, digital angle gauge. So I put it on the bar and I twisted it down, measured it. And then when I went to do the fourth one, I realized the part I had measured from was now different because I'd bent it. And so the reference point was completely different, hence why it's really bad. Again, I'll cut that one up and do something with it. And finally comes to our last one. And this one actually, Lucy helped me with the fourth bend, which was very helpful because, you do the first 2 and then you rotate it up, but the trick is to not let it rotate back down before you get the bend started. So I would pinch it in the die and then kind of run around and grab the long handle and just keep tension on it. But she helped me with this to kind of make sure it didn't rotate. But same thing, this time I measured off the part that was being bent. So that part was straight for the third and fourth one. So it was the same reference point. It actually worked. But excited to ride them and see how they feel. This is 58 thou wall thickness chromoly. So not the lightest handlebar out there, but I'll paint it to match the rest of the bike, and we'll see. Maybe I'll try some thinner tubing in the future. But anyways, that was the experience using the Haas felt bender. It was very cool. So thank you all. Any questions? We'll see. I'm gonna ride it, and I was reading on some forums, and that was kind of some people go down to 45, I think, or 48 thou wall thickness, and this is 58. So this is pretty thick, and most of the bike tubing in the actual bike frame is 35 thou and under. But this is cantilevered, and you are putting a lot of force on it. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is kind of like a cruisery gravel bike, not a mountain bike. So, but yeah, I don't know.
Are you going to be able, or do you need to put knurling on the midpoint of that?
It would be nice. It would be good. I mean, I have a bar that's very similar to this, kind of a riser style, and it has knurling on it. It also has a cross beam kind of between the rise. Not all of them have that. So, and yeah, you have to, unfortunately, because most handlebars are larger in the center and then they taper, but you can't really do that with a, straight tube. I don't have the tooling to do that, so I'll use a shim, and usually the shims have knurling, but it'd be nice to have. I might try and figure out a way to put knurling on it. I probably should have done that on the lathe before I bent it, but Oh, okay. Well, we'll use that. Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you all.
That's super cool. I didn't know you could use the bender for that, so a new example. Next on our list is Annie, who has a dollhouse for a dollhouse.
So, hi, my name's Annie. So I just got done. This is my version 1 on the laser cutter, and you can see it's a little dollhouse. It has like a little open area for it. So it's 12:1 scale, which means like it would be a foot. In the real world, would be like an inch in dollhouse world. So my next step is going to be like making some furniture and stuff for it. So like, you know, imagine a dollhouse inside of a dollhouse inside of a dollhouse, you know, who knows, Inception. But and then I've got version 2 of it. So I've been drawing it on like just Adobe Illustrator. So a next step, I'm doing like some floor tiles that are just going to be put into it. And then I'm going ahead and doing like some spots on the like front part, and then I want to make the drawer on it like actually open and everything. So yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. So, and then I'm gonna do windows. I think next will be next step, but windows, and do like separate windows so I can put them in and put some like little plastic backing on it and stuff. So yeah, that's it. Any questions? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then I've been working on the door, trying to get it to like work, because I have mini hinges, but obviously it's a little tiny, so I think I'm gonna do some cloth and just try to make like a mini hinge out of it. So, yep. Oh, just out of wood. It's the 3mm birch wood that you can get in the store. So, oh yeah, there's that. And I did put it together before I put wallpaper up. So my next version, I'm going to put the wallpaper up and then glue it together. Yeah. So this is paint on the outside, but I've got like, I used to use scrapbooking paper to do wallpaper in the inside and just try to find like a tiny pattern or something. So. It's like 3/4, then I got distracted, but I've got all the siding up, and eventually, it's this year's New Year's resolution, so, you know, but, yeah. Cool, thank you, everyone. Ow.
Next on the list is Jonathan, who is showing off a welding repair. And I think Annie should make a mini welding machine for your dollhouse.
All right, let's see. So this is kind of what the piece is supposed to look like. My neighbor and I share a lawnmower, and we had to take it apart. And as we took it apart, some of the parts kind of turned into more parts than what they were supposed to. So you can kind of see here the edges of this fork kind of fell off. It's just a tensioner bar for the blade for the mower deck, and so I said, well, that's a solid piece of metal. We could probably rebend it and make it where it needs to be, but as we learned earlier this evening, bending metal isn't always extremely straightforward. So I was like, I'm authorized to use the welder. Let's just go ahead and weld them together. So I brought it in, straightened out the pieces, different pieces, and polished everything off with a grinder. And then I proceeded to weld it, and it looks absolutely terrible. So then I said, well, let's do the other side, and I forgot to take a photo until after I welded it, or started grinding on it, but the other side looked a lot better. Something about practice. And you can also notice that I put a little triangle on the bottom of it, and that was just to give it some extra stability, so that all of the stress from it isn't held in that one direction on one weld on it. So the goal is hopefully that it never falls apart, but to my friends that weld professionally, I sent a message saying I took 3 pieces and turned it into 1. So it's all back together and it's functional, and it will be buried underneath the lawnmower until it falls apart again. So, any questions?
Yeah. Which welder did you, how do you do that?
I used MIG welder, so it was the second one over. I would say definitely after talking with some of my friends, they're like, well, you probably should have taken some of that spare material and practiced with it first. I think I had the spool. I know, yeah, that's what grinders are for, right? So I think I had the spool, the feed too quickly on it, and potentially it might have been a little too hot. But once I grinded it down, it looked like I had a decent penetration and not a whole lot of gaps in the connections. So I was pretty happy with it.
But it works, right?
It works.
All right, look out.
Yeah, our yards look great.
Thea knows she's next. Last but not least is Thea with progress on baby stuff.
All right, we have some new faces, so I'll give just a little bit of background on this project. I have 2 coworkers who are both becoming grandparents within a week of each other. Or I mean, I think they discovered the kids were expecting like 3 weeks apart. So I made this for the first one because he actually works at the office with his dad. And then the kids all grew up together. Dax and Chris, the grandparents, grew up and played together and worked together. And then the 2 grandsons, or the sons, grew up together. So even though Alex moved to Colorado, I felt bad about not giving him and his wife a gift. So I'm working on the second outfit, which hasn't been blocked yet, so it looks a little smaller than it's going to be. But after I made this one, you'll notice it's got the buttons at the crotch and the buttons up the side, which I thought was good because you can just lay the whole thing flat and drop the baby on it. I got told by people that have actually had babies that buttons are bad. So this one is supposed to be, let me get back to the top. It's supposed to be this outfit, and it's got the button placard in the back. You can see the button placard in the back. And for a newborn, to me, that just doesn't make sense because they're always laying down and they can't exactly lift their head and help you button. So I moved it, and that was the hardest part of the whole thing. I moved it to the shoulder. Oops, wide. So I had to redo the count on the increases and the whole thing, so it'll fill in here. And I'm going to go with snaps underneath decorative buttons, so there won't be any buttons. But it took forever, especially having to rewrite half the pattern, but I'm at the part now where you decrease the crotch and it goes around the legs and up to fasten. So hopefully another 2 weeks. But
How many you got in it so far?
well over 200 hours of actual work. And that doesn't count rewriting the pattern. Yes.
It looks like one of the stitches, maybe both of these are lined edges, and you don't have a stitch holder in them. How do you keep the stitches from dropping?
There aren't actual stitch holders, it's scrap yarn.
Oh, so it's not actually, okay, yeah.
So yeah, they are live, but they don't distort as much as using a metal stitch holder. Yes.
It's still small because you haven't blocked it yet. What does that mean?
With wool-based yarns, you get them soaking wet, stretch them out how they're supposed to be, and let them dry. With acrylic yarns, because they're basically plastic, you steam them without like directly applying the iron to them. You can use like the old steam travel irons, or just put your iron on steam and hold it above, and the hot kind of melts it, so you block it out and then steam it. And that'll help it hold its shape better, so you can see in the picture that you're actually supposed to be able to see the ribs. So it'll gain a couple of inches in the circumference. Any other questions?
Do you put it on like a baby doll, or like how do you?
For the other one, I just could pin it down flat.
Okay.
This one, I've got some really flexible plastic that's supposed to be for quilt templating, and I'll literally roll it in a tube, stick it in, expand it, and paper clip it until it's the right size, and then let it dry. And it works the same way for socks. All right. Thank you.
Very cool. Learned a lot tonight. Announcements. Last week, if you weren't here, was our birthday party. Thank you for. Amy, do you have a share? That's okay. Last but not least is Amy. Then I will talk about the party.
I mentioned to some people the last few weeks that my family and I went back to China. Well, not back to, I've never been to Asia. I went to China for the first time. And we saw the terracotta warriors, and you know, in a bunch of countries there's cats laying around, but like in places that cats are supposed to be, they're really friendly and will just like let you pet them. So I was doing that the whole time. And my sister-in-law who's with us made the pun terracotta warrior, because we saw some outside the terracotta warriors. And we were gonna get a keychain because in the souvenir shop we saw these keychains being advertised that were cats with armor on them. But they were like these keychains, but like these huge plushies, and none of us wanted that. And I was like, that's fine. I know how to make this shit. Like, I'll just sorry, PG. I know how to make these things. I'll just come home and make them. Make one for you. So I've been working on it. I was going to originally make it all out of leather. Just like laser cut and then sew multiple layers together. And it was kind of a cute pattern, but I didn't like the way that it was turning out. So I decided, I know how to crochet. I know how to dye fibers. And I might as well learn how to felt. So I took white yarn, made this about, I don't know, like 50% larger. And then as I was dyeing it, I would just like scrunch and rub and stuff like that on purpose to make sure that while I was dyeing in the hot water, it was also felting. And then after I made that, I still laser cut the armor. So this was multiple pieces, cut out and engraved. So the engraving makes it look like there are multiple squares put together, and then it's just stitched on the side and stitched at the shoulders. And this is just a little piece of felt, because in real life, the warriors would have been wearing clothing under their leather, obviously. But yeah, I forgot a tail, but I feel like it makes sense for a keychain not to have a little tail hanging out. I'm just gonna say I did it on purpose, and the doll actually has a tail tucked inside its armor for protection, because if you were a cat warrior, obviously that's what you would do. And then I don't really like using ChatGPT for art in general, because it's like, you know, real artists, but I gave in anyway, and I had it design this little, I said, make a cartoon cat terracotta warrior, but make it look like fake Chinese communist propaganda, which doesn't really make sense, because it's like, it occurred to me like days later that technically this is like an imperial thing, like it was for the emperor, which doesn't really make sense politically. Whatever, who cares? It's cute. I like the way it looks. It's really cute. So I just have a little card with like stuff written on the back for her, and that's it. That's the thing. Yeah. I had to Google Translate it to see if this was like actually a sentence and not just random gibberish because it's AI. Apparently, this is an actual phrase. It says "for the people," or like "for the people's service" or something like that, which I guess is a thing that you would find on. It got the Chinese propaganda right, I guess. Yeah.
What did you dye the garment?
It's onion skins, maybe a little bit of garlic skin that got in, plus copper. I finally figured out how to use metal to actually change the color because I've been struggling with that. So when I was at it, the first step to dyeing is to soak it in with compounds that will make the dye stick. And at that first step, before I put it in the dye bath, I added copper. So adding the metal to the bath before putting in the dye helped it change the color. Because naturally, the onion by itself would be like this nice yellow, warm color. But now it's, if you guys remember me coming up with my dyeing projects before, you'll know I've been struggling with green. And I accidentally made this the greenest thing that I've made so far when I was aiming for like a warm brown, whatever. But yeah, copper and onion skin. Other questions? Cool, thanks guys. Oh,
Does Andrew have a show and share too? Fine. This is probably, is it cute? Because this has like been the cutest show and share we've ever had.
I mean, I'm involved, so of course.
I should have not. I set you up for that.
Hey guys, so I just want to invite everybody to Relay Ridge. We're having an open house this Friday from 6 to 9. We'll have a new show in the gallery from a couple artists in North Carolina, one in Boone and one in Asheville. They're doing like the super delicate embroidery on leaves, and then there's also some cyanotypes and things of that nature if you're familiar. We'll also be goofing off in the print shop doing some I don't know, exciting things, getting ready for a small press fest, which is coming up in October. So that'll also be happening, open studios, free wine, snacks. Come on down. Relay Ridge, if you're not familiar, it's 4124 McKinley Street in Knoxville, Tennessee, North Knox, next to Sharps Ridge. Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, we had a birthday party last week. I see that. It was super fun. I'm really glad for everyone that came and everyone that made a hat. It was really ridiculous and I loved it. We had awards, so I'd like to congratulate the hat award winners. The tallest hat went to Russell DeCastengreen, who, I wrote it down, his hat was 39 inches tall. It was like, had lights on it and had a flag at the top. It's crazy. The heaviest and widest hat went to the same person, Alex Thaler, with the laser cut wooden and acrylic sombrero that lit up. I don't remember how wide it was, but it was almost 5 pounds. It was 23 inches wide and 5 pounds heavy. And he didn't even have a strap on it. Oh, look, here's a picture. Here's Russell's right there. And next to him is Alex with his giant sombrero. And the best most hat of the day went to Luca. His hat was the birthday cake hat. It was wonderful. And there was an outfit to match even. It was great. So thank you all that came. Next year we thought maybe we could just have an award for everyone to make their own award, since some people tried to do that. Other upcoming events. Tonight is new member onboarding. If you're interested in membership, if you're a trial member, if you just like to hear me and Isaac talk, you can stay after and listen to hear about how great Knox Makers is, how to be a good member, how we work. This coming Thursday, there's a bandsaw authorization class. There's a couple tickets left for that. And next Thursday, there's an embroidery auth class at 1 p.m. So if you're more free during the day, there's a ticket open for the embroidery off at 1 p.m. next Thursday. There's a couple metal classes coming up, but they're sold out, so complain to Joe about that and get more on the calendar. And the last thing I have is that if you would like to learn how to change the air filters tonight and help out, you can talk to Daryl. Where is Daryl? There's Daryl, and he will show you how we do that. Other than that, we're going to take a quick break. If you want to stay for new member onboarding, stay in here. Otherwise, go in the shop and have fun.